going on, IG? We are live again, Wednesdays. Back at the usual spot, 12:30. Kick off another session here, talking about all things digital marketing, of course. So we'll have a couple people here coming in today. We'll take some questions, of course. Today's topic, very, very important topic about nurturing leads. This is something that stems from the initial sales funnel that we should have in place. So I want to talk about that first, and then we'll get into the nurturing. So let's go ahead and talk first about the sales funnel and how we get those particular leads that then we could further nurture. Nurturing is a key component to any sort of strategy out there to build trust within the brand, to build the likability. You want to continue to lead with value when it comes to nurturing your leads, and there's a lot of tactics there that you can utilize when nurturing leads. So let's start first with the sales funnel. Let's start with that. Let's talk about how that really works and how it all ties in. So let's think of, because this is the easiest way kind of to describe it, let's think of a giant ice cream cone, right? And you got the top of the cone there, right? A couple of scoops up top. You got that middle, and you got the bottom, right? The top of that ice cream cone is the top of that funnel. And what your goal there at the top level is to drive people to your website. That's the goal right there, is driving traffic to your website. Now, how do you go about that? Well, you're going to have to run some ads. You're going to have to be more proactive with your approach. So whether you are looking into Google when it comes to SEO or paid campaigns, right, would be the choice there. Drive people. Social ads, again, driving people. So you want to get them in. So it's a really a blanket approach. This is why top of the funnel, it's wide. Okay? Now you're getting them there. Now you get to the middle of that funnel, and that's where the nurturing begins. So they know who you are now. They visited your site. Now, how can you get them to like you? How can you get them to trust you, right? So that's where the nurturing comes into play. You want to go ahead and start implementing nurturing techniques when it comes to educating those people. Email marketing would be one of the top choices right there. You want to go ahead and continue to provide value. You want to continue to educate and teach these people. Let them look at you as an expert and an authority in your industry. And it really just shows that you know what you're talking about. You know your stuff. And you're not afraid to give away that information. And what's happening is you're developing that presence as an authority to these people, to that email list. And they're learning things from you, and you set the stage as an expert in that area. So you're constantly nurturing at that point. Now, as you move towards the bottom of that funnel, that's where now you need to get to the sale. So at that point, it comes down to a decision. It comes down to whether or not that person's going to choose you, if you've done your job properly, or they might be on the fence, or they're just looking elsewhere. So how can you further convince them? So at that point in time, now you gotta amp it up a little bit. You may want to perhaps place an offer out there. You want to continue maybe to give them something, a little something extra to kind of help them move the needle towards your direction. That's important. So those are the three main areas there. And of course, some cones have the very, very bottom where there's chocolate, and that is the ideal sale. That's the conversion there. Once you get to that point, you're good, and you've done your job. So if we back up a little bit, because mostly today's topic is really concerning nurturing leads, and I wanted to first explain the process of how we get there by doing a nice quick run through of the funnel. But in the middle there is the lead nurturing, and there's a couple of different tactics that we should be considering when nurturing leads. So one of the main things, and I just mentioned it before in the funnel kind of, explanation there, is email marketing. Email marketing is one of the key areas that we use to continue to be top of mind. You want to always be top of mind when it comes to nurturing those leads. You're leading with value, you're not pitching, you want to educate, you want to give some useful information. You want to bring awareness to topics that maybe your audience should be aware of that can possibly then lead them into the direction of a sale. So an example, an email that went out last week on our end, we brought up again the importance of ADA compliancy. It is a very important topic for anybody with a website, right? We already know this. Most people don't. They don't understand it. They don't know what it's about. They don't know they actually need it, right? So we're bringing more awareness to it, right? But we're not just educating to educate. It also sets the stage for further conversation to get to a sale, right? Because we provide that service. So we're speaking in a way where we're bringing attention to a matter, where we're stressing the importance, we're educating, we're going about it a way where it's almost like a public service announcement in a way. And we're doing that so that we can possibly get that person to discuss it further with us, because they may have questions. And you always have to end that with really strong call to actions about discussing the topic further, questions, whatever it might be. You got to be creative at that point. But what we're doing is we're focusing on a topic that we feel our client base should be aware of, and of course lead them to the important call to action. So that's just an example to talk about an email example that you can then think outside the box with your own company and whatever that industry is, and follow that same type of blueprint. Okay. So email marketing. Another technique would be connecting with them through social. So with an email list, you can go ahead and take it a step further and do your due diligence and see where they might be. Most likely, if it's a B2B, you could find their LinkedIn profiles, and you could go take a look at what's going on there to make that personal connection. So that's another method. You want to go ahead and do something like that so that there is a deeper connection there, that you can have that one-on-one. The other tactic that we utilize, and you can do this several ways. It could be done via email, or it could be another type of campaign. I mean, where there's text message campaigns as well, is giving out some sort of ebook, right? It's another tactic to further give great information for them to learn. And at the end of the day, what's happening is they're building more trust, because you're giving them great value and you are establishing yourself as that expert. So that's what's great about it. So you're going ahead and you're using these tactics to be top of mind, and of course to continue to build that relationship, establish yourself as that authority. So that's extremely important. What you're doing at the end of the day with these leads is you're showing up, you're giving value, and you're trying to drive them towards a conversation, right? Whether that is some sort of discovery call, whether it's some sort of consultation, whatever industry you might be in, because you're bringing awareness to them. And at the end of the day, you're establishing your own authority. It goes back to those three factors of, the know and like and trust. So they're going to know about you once they hit your website, but they still don't like you or trust you perhaps. So with the nurturing now, they're going to get a sense of who you are. And if you bring in your personality, you bring in your own personal characteristics, and then your knowledge, then you start getting the likability in there, and then definitely the trust when it comes to that great content that you're giving them. So those are some really important steps to take, things to keep in mind when you're building that email list and then it's time to nurture. So it's important, and listen, there's even more. There's obviously other types of techniques and such, but those are some solid approaches to nurturing those leads on a consistent basis to develop that trust. And it'll also cause some separation as well, perhaps from the competition, because you're showing up. You're giving great value and knowledge. You're teaching. You're driving awareness on certain things. You're able to drop in those offers, whatever it is that you can further separate yourself and really claim that spot as like, hey, I'm the choice here. You need to make that decision with us. We're the right choice. And I think from that prior education and establishing yourself as an expert, I think that will then, lay out the foundation. That's what's important. So important for any type of business, you have a valuable list. You want to go ahead and you want to keep up with those follow-ups. You want to keep up with the communication. It's really, really important to go ahead and do that. You don't want to let it go stale and then people are not hearing from you. So extremely important to have something like that in place and be consistent. Always stay top of mind and get out that good content. And don't be afraid to think outside the box. And don't assume that people that do sign up know of maybe basic things that you feel are pretty standard or everyday information in your own company, because more times than not that's not the case. So even if there is a percentage of your list that might have some knowledge in a certain area, you still need to address it. In my opinion, you still need to bring attention to it, even put your own spin on it, put your own personal take on whatever the topic may be. Don't assume that everybody knows what you know, because it's your industry. You should know that. Think along those lines and constantly get that great content out there. Important topic. It's something that all businesses should really have a game plan and strategy each month when it comes to nurturing leads. And if you have questions on an approach or any sort of blueprint, when it comes to, hey, how can I get started? What should I be doing? Feel free to reach out, send me a message, and I could assist with seeing really what's going on with your business, your approach, your marketing strategies, and if I see any kind of holes in that operation, things that you may not have realized, could certainly assist. So that's it for today. Nurturing leads, very important topic, must be done, or else you're just letting them, float around and pick somebody else to do business with, and that's something that you don't want, right? So tune in next week, same time, next Wednesday, new topic, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks for tuning in.